What is your best, and so we never did that again story? We don't throw things into the ceiling fan anymore. It started with poker chips and jumped to cutlery way too quickly. And now you have a friend named Lefty. Jacking off with headphones in with my back facing the door. It's like you wanted to get caught. Rented a mechanical bull for a stampede party, Calgary, Alberta. Couldn't put it in the yard because it wasn't completely flat, so we set it up on the parking pad. First dude riding it got thrown off, missed the pads and flew into the alley, landing on the concrete gravel and grazing pretty much everything. I used to have a 93 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra I got when I was 20 and my grandmother passed away. One day my friend and I were cruising around, and we stopped in this parking lot and decided to try doing reverse donuts. Since it was a front wheel drive, it's worth pointing out I'm 6'3" and my friend is 5'6" or 7. I put the car in reverse, cut the wheel and punch it. We're on a slight slope. The car whips around quickly, and then just starts shuddering sideways and leaning really hard. I look over, and look up at my friend, as his side of the car is way higher than mine now. We just stare into each other's eyes for a brief few seconds that feel like eternity. Mouths open silently in terror as I let off the gas and the car stops shuddering sideways and rights itself. I can't remember specifically what was said, but it was something along the lines of, "Well, that was terrifying. Let's never freaking try that again." A friend of mine and I were detonating homemade explosives for shoots and giggles in a field way north of the town of where we lived. It was all pipe bombs. We had fun blowing up random crap and examining the shrapnel and remains. Someone abandoned an entire Barbie playset in a house my friend was renting and we shot it up with pellet guns and blew it up. We called it Beirut Barbie. On time right after we were finished we had to climb this tall hill to get back to our car, and right at the top of that hill was a police cruiser with just one cop inside. He has this confused look on his face and asked, "Did you guys hear a loud explosion?" No. Okay. And he left. And my friend and I figured that was our good luck all used up. We never did it again. Set treadmill speed to max, then jump on it. We once tried to carry the fire that was burning in the downstairs fireplace to the main floor fireplace in a large cardboard box. We got it halfway up the stairs before the alarms went off. We did manage to make it look like someone was trying to smoke ribs in the fireplace before campus safety got there, but we didn't ever try moving the fire again. That was so dumb. 10/10. Rode a bike in the city while on acid with a friend. Most of the way it was fine, I'm pretty sure. What I do remember is this: I got to a stoplight and forgot to unclip. Fell over in the middle of a moderately trafficked road. I then had 0 feet to help me stand up, and my legs couldn't remember the lift twist pull action that requires an unclipping from the pedals. So I was laying in the middle of the road doing what looks like trying to pedal a bike sideways. Somehow I survived, and nobody called the cops about a dude literally tripping on a bike. So we never did acid and rode bikes again. I once biked right into a lake on 4 grams of shrooms. Just freaking pedaled myself right in, dunked my head, left the bike, and walked out back to land like I was a prehistoric tadpole evolving for the first time. I ruined that bike, but it was worth it. Drunken Roman candle fights at the cottage. My friend was a couple centimeters away from losing an eye. He got really grumpy for some reason and refused to stop for breakfast on the way home the next day. So there's now a ban on fireworks at the cottage in fear of missing out on bacon and eggs, and I guess losing an eye. Long sleeves, gloves and paintball masks. We call doing this playing Harry Potter, and it's so much fun. We were in a bar and talking about lovemaking when the Altoid BJ talk came up. After a few more drinks my wife and I went home, and I was really disappointed to find out we were out of Altoids. I thought, why not improvise, so I found some Listamint patches. They are a dissolving strip of Listamint. My wife proceeds to put them on my dong like paper mache. It felt good for a minute, until it didn't. The night ended with my dong in the sink, a set of perfectly rectangle red marks on my wang, and worst of all, no BJ. So we never did that again. Back when M80s were legal, my friends and I were building a fort out in the woods and there was a tree in the way. So we strung up a bunch of M80s around the trunk and ran away. Needless to say, never again. No idea how we didn't die. not we, was waiting for a ride when I decided to balance on one of the cement posts that prevent cars from driving on the sidewalk near the entrance of a building. I stuck the landing, but unfortunately I was too badass to properly tie my skate shoes. My foot slipped and that mortar hit the little soldiers dead on. Overwhelmed by the worst pain I have ever experienced to this day, I rolled over in the fetal position. I did not see that coming, but eventually I collected myself and stood up. That's when I felt it, like that first drop of rain before a hurricane touches land. I felt a trickle down my leg. Crap. I opened my pants and examined Mr. Johnson. No damage done. I checked out his pals, and that's when I saw it. My oysters had been shucked. If there were ever a sight that no man should have to see, it is the sight of his own testicles on scrotum. I had torn a hole in my sack big enough to fit my thumb through, and, as I lost a lot of blood, got a magnificent view of my left ball in all of its pale white glory. I got 3 stitches and, thank God, no serious damage was done to my boys. After 3 weeks and slew of painkillers, I was fully up and running again. So no, I will never try to balance on a cement post again. While drunk and slightly stoned with a group of friends, we decided to throw an empty 2L Coke bottle, lid screwed on, into our campfire. It sat there for 2 seconds, then exploded, blew up half the campfire, sending red hot debris flying everywhere, singed a few leg hairs off, and I fell backwards out of my camp chair. Never doing that again. Word of caution to anyone that reads this: do not attempt to recreate this with a can of beans. Living in an old 1600s mining town doesn't leave you with a lot of things to do. Me and my friends dealt with this by taking regular night drives to one of many abandoned industrial complexes in the area to break in and throw Molotovs. The heavy metal door was always bolted, but with a bit of finesse it was easy to get it open. A light, violent tap to the hinges with a sledgehammer was all we needed. Now, this place was run down. All the windows were busted out, holes in the walls, broken glass, metal, and concrete littered the floor. A huge, deep, draining trench filled with sharp pieces of metal sticking out dangerously ran uncovered right across the floor. Years of kids breaking in to rid themselves of frustration had left the place pretty much completely trashed. We didn't help. Once inside we had it down to a science. One of us would make a small fire for light, one would prepare the bottles, and one would tear old t-shirts into strips. From there on it was easy. Grab a bottle, fill it with gasoline, add a strip of fabric, get it soaked, set the thing on fire, and let it rip. I tell you, the sound of fire soaring through the sky, the red trail burned into the retina, the satisfying sound of glass breaking, and the telltale whoosh of a fireball. Nothing is quite like it. One day we had a great idea. If we threw one of these into the ceiling rafters, the fireball would surely spread out under the roof, illuminating the floor in a glorious shade of red. So we decided, why not? My friend had the strongest throwing arm, so he got the honor. Molotov ready, arm cocked back, and let it fly. The second the bottle hit the roof and broke, we realized our mistake. We had forgotten about gravity. Broken glass and burning gasoline rained from the sky, and in an instant, my friend was nothing but a burning silhouette. Let me tell you, it looked awesome. Panic ensued. Jackets were removed. Stop, drop, and roll. We smothered the flames quickly, and he escaped with nothing more than a singed beard and a slight smell of gasoline. It did, however, scare the living crap out of us, and so we never did that again. I mean, we still threw Molotovs and did stupid crap up there that almost killed us. We just never threw anything at the ceiling. When I was a junior in high school, one day me and my friends were bored and had the bright idea to get some habanero peppers and see if we could eat them. I went first, and ended up drinking half a gallon of milk, eating half a loaf of bread, and throwing it all up before the stinging went away. And so we never bought habanero peppers again. I was taking a dump at my school, just minding my own business, when some other person walked into the bathroom and sat down in the stall next to mine. Things were silent for a few minutes until I heard a whisper coming from the other stall. Hey, do you like boobs? What the? Oh, frick it. Fine, I'll bite. Of course. I heard a splash that sounded off. Then the guy left his stall. Good, he said. Then you're gonna love this. The pungent odor of crap that was always prevalent in school bathrooms got slightly stronger while he washed his hands and left. I got finished with my business and opened the door to my stall, and on the wall before me was a magnificently drawn pair of DD titties drawn in the tile with pure crap, and then the principal walked in. Thankfully I was able to convince them that I didn't draw the art on the wall. However, I'm never taking a crap at school ever again. Plot twist, your principal was the one setting you up. Threw a snowball across a road. Car came around the corner and it hit the windscreen. Car was a police car. A buddy and I were pretty hammered one night, and our wives were getting exasperated with us over a particularly long and drawn out living room UFC match. He has a black belt in something, I don't even know. I have no training of any kind, so I mostly wrap him up and try not to get choked out. He is slightly larger than me. It's fun but I almost exclusively lose. So I am getting brutalized and we're making a bunch of noise, so the wives say enough already, stop being idiots. Fine. I stand up to catch my breath and my pants are almost all the way down. Hey nice panties, you're queer. Not being the shy type, and with basically 4 of my closest friends. I say you like IT and just drop my pants all the way. If I rules made a sound the wives would have deafened us. I then pull my shirt up and give a flex that is roundly, and deservedly, laughed at. My buddy rushes in and pretends to lay down a massive belly slap. Bring IT. We are both crying laughing at this point. My pants are around my ankles. I lift my shirt up. He lays an open hand slap on my gut that almost knocks the wind out of me. I saw freaking stars. Is that IT baby pants? Another one. This one brings me to a knee. The wives quietly Google annulment options. Not to be outdone, I am now to belly slap the crap out of him. So I get my 2 shots in, and he too is now crying laughing, doubled over in pain. We compare hand marks. Mine hadn't even begun to go down. You can see his wedding band in the hand mark. I had a purple hand on my stomach for 2 freaking weeks. 2 weeks. Every time I took my shirt off my poor wife would just give me this sort of hopeless, it is impossible you are this stupid type of look. So we never did that again. I once drank a whole bottle of Baileys when I was about 14. Somehow got home, got to bed, fell asleep, was sick in my sleep in my bed, woke up to a sort of whipped cream mountain of Baileys and carrots. The smell was horrific, so I ended up adding to the pile almost as soon as I woke up. Never again Baileys. I made a mixer of all my friends' dad's spirits and the last thing I added was Baileys. It turned into a fetus. I drank it anyway. Instant vomit. Had a few too many beers and decided I could stick the landing if I jumped the entire flight of stairs. Probably 10 total. Landed and immediately fell over to one side. Woke up with 2 very sprained ankles. Drank most a bottle of tequila at 11 AM while camping. Ended up naked walking along a gravel road in the middle of Pennsylvania. I got the strangest looks from people driving by. I can't imagine why. One time I tried anal with an XGF, and a watery crap jet landed in my balls, and I almost vomited, and so we never did it again. Yeah, poo comes out of there. Read a blog. 4th of July, playing around with those reloadable mortar tubes. If you put 2 projectiles in a tube at a time it mostly works. Adding a third does not. At least one of them will come out wonky and go off near ground level. Possibly after traveling distance normally safe for spectators in a random direction. If you set off the projectile upside down you get a cool jet of flame and then a shower of sparks. This places undue stress on the tube. The second one will blow out the base of the mortar. Not as bad as the first experiment at least. We weren't invited back. Curiously, the stated reason for not inviting us back was pouring gasoline on a pile of firecrackers and lighting it with a Roman candle. That one seemed perfectly fine to me. Got quite a few, but here is one of my favorites. A friend and I were at his place mucking around, as you do. Well, we found a trapdoor spider nest. A trapdoor spider builds a tunnel as a nest and, as the name suggests, they put a trapdoor over the top. So we were using sticks and things to try to get her out, but she would pop a leg or 2 out, realize what was happening, then duck back out of sight. My brilliant idea? Burn her out. So we grabbed a can of WD-40 with the long hose on the nozzle, tucked it into the nest and sprayed, for ages. Then sprayed a fuse to about 50 centimeters away and got ready. This was going to be fun. So we lit it, Now, the last thing I remember seeing before hearing an almighty bang on the fence behind me was a rather large, angry, burning arachnid flying past my head, screaming. The noise was so loud his parents came running. We turned and saw a 20cm wide scorch mark with bits of leg still twitching stuck to the fence. We got in big trouble off his mum, but his dad looked kind of proud. I ate a special brownie on a school trip in Washington, D.C. I shared some with my friend. She ended up passing out. I wasn't so lucky. It first hit me on the metro, where I proclaimed to my dean that I'm the fastest woman alive while pretending to run in front of the windows. We went to see a movie, and I got an enormous popcorn, raisinettes, and a icy. Next thing I remember is stuffing my face and having the sudden realization that I'm in the balcony, and scared of heights. Ended up crawling out of a movie theater and falling down some stairs before having the worst, most extended panic attack of my life. I refused to move for 3 hours and my entire class had to wait outside the movie theater for my dumb butt to simmer down. I had to be carried back to the hotel. So yeah, no more brownies for me. You sound like the kind of personality that shouldn't be doing drugs. H. Second place. Taking acid at a house party. My house party. We didn't have a mortar for New Year's, so we made one out of a pizza box. My life flashed before my eyes when the firework didn't take off, exploded about 20 feet away, and the crackling after effect crackled right next to my ear, meaning I was literally inches from being hit in the head with a white hot report. Yeah, we never did that crap again. Back in 2001 or 2002, my buddy and I were messing around with his camcorder, driving around doing dumb crap and filming it. No vandalism or anything, just being idiots and annoying people. At one point, we drive past this couple walking their dogs at night. I get the idea to suddenly stop right next to them, film them, and then just move on. They were really confused and we laughed about it. Several minutes later we see another couple and decide to do the same thing. Only it's the same couple. More confusion and more laughter. Then we call it a night. I think it was the next day or a couple days later. We're doing the same dumb crap with the camcorder and we see a couple walking around and decide to do the same thing. You guessed it. Same freaking couple. More confusion. More laughter. But a little more aggravation on their part. And this is where we fricked up. I said, let's do that one more time. At this point, they're on a side road just around the corner. We film them, but the husband comes at us. We gun it and laugh our asses off until we realize we're in a small part of the neighborhood that only has one exit and the couple are standing right by it. We give it a minute and try to leave, but they're not budging, determined to do who knows what to us. So, we give it about 10 more minutes and they're still there, and now there's a car blocking the road. Frick. We wait even longer and decide we can only just try to jump the curb and gun it past them. We give that a shot, but they maneuver too quickly. We hit reverse, end up hitting a bush, and that's when the car blocking the road turns on the red and blues. Freaking undercover cop car. Fortunately, we knew enough to know we hadn't actually broken the law save the bit with the bushes, so we just calmly did what the cop said. First of which was put down the camera, then he asked the driver, my buddy, to come over. He asked him what we were doing and my buddy explained the whole situation. The cop said something about doing that in times like these, post 9/11, but he was good-natured enough to not arrest us or anything. He did make my friend call his mom and tell her what happened, which was a pretty hilarious conversation. I've been stopped by a cop. What? Why? Were you speeding? No, I was filming pedestrians. W. What? Then he took our information down and said he'd be watching us. And that was that. So, we don't film pedestrians anymore. I tried to blow out a flaming metal marshmallow stick by bringing it up to my face and blowing it out. It did not go out. It made contact with my face. My flesh melted. What happened to your face? Marshmallows. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.